It's a Friday afternoon. You arrive home, taking a little longer since you live on the outskirts of the city. You walk inside home, greet your wife and your children, and at that moment, the kids run outside to play in the yard. Suddenly, they both rush into the jungle. Panic sets in, but you quickly pull yourself together and chase after them. You tell your wife, and soon you find your oldest child, but the younger one is nowhere to be seen. You hand the older one to your wife and dive deeper into the jungle, following his tracks. You follow his steps, but soon lose the trail. Nearly 2 hours have passed, and you are getting desperate as the sun begins to set. Suddenly, you hear your son's laughter. You move toward the sound, part the lips, and see him standing there, smiling at you, saying, "Hi, Dad." You ask him what he's doing there, and he simply says, "I am playing with my new friends," but when they saw you, they hid.
In Campeche and Yucatan, Mexico, the cases of missing children have been a source of fear for generations. Some of these stories are documented, like the disappearance of a 10 years old boy, Alejandro, in May 2005. This case, covered even on national news, remains unsolved to this day. Alex disappeared in the mountains near his home while walking with his grandfather and younger brother. Despite authorities and over 400 people joining the search, they couldn't find him. There were no clues, no signs of attack or attempts to run away. It was as if the jungle had swallowed him whole. Ancient inhabitants of the region believe something more sinister is behind this disappearance. The owners of the jungle, also known as Aluxes, are protective spirits that dwell in the jungle and can take children, never to return them. According to the legends, the missing children aren't harmed, but are taken by these beings to be trained in ancient Mayan arts. Parents of the lost children believe it's not a coincidence, nor a simple accident, that their children venture into the jungle. They believe it's the jungle itself that calls to them, drawing them ever deeper inside. When efforts to find Alex failed, some locals began to believe the child had been taken by the owners of the jungle. It was said he was being trained to become a Mayan priest or shaman, and that one day he will return having learned the ceremonies and rituals of the ancients. Another chilling case took place in Cancun, Mexico in 1999, when a girl named Anna disappeared while playing in a park that still has a cenote today. Her family, desperate, soon learned that the Aluxes might be behind her disappearance. In their desperation, after a day had passed, the locals told the family that her disappearance was the work of the Aluxes, and that if they didn't make an offering to these beings, the girl might never return. The family then prepared food, sweets, and toys, performing a Mayan ritual in hopes of bringing Anna back. After a day and unsuccessful searching, the family returned to the park and found her asleep hidden among the plants. Anna remembered nothing of her time missing. To her, it had only been an instant, and those who searched had passed by the same spot multiple times without finding her. The fact that the girl returned right after the offering fueled local legends even more. Had the Aluxes really taken Anna and then returned her in exchange for a pact? Some neighbors claim she hadn't been there before, while others whisper about the mysteries surrounding the Aluxes and their refuge in the park. The disappearance of Alejandro and Anna's mysterious return are just two examples of how the Aluxes remain present in the minds of those who live in these lands. Were these beings truly responsible for the disappearances? Or is there something else hidden in the jungle? Other versions said it was actually the bad air, as it's known by the locals. There's a story of a father and his son who were deep in the jungle of Campeche, but nightfall surprised them. Being too far from home, they slept under a large tree, which seemed comfortable enough to spend the night. The father lit a small fire, took out a cigarette, and brewed some coffee to share with his son for dinner. The next morning, he woke up, but his son was nowhere to be found. It was still very early, but he ran towards the mouth of a nearby cave, where he saw his son calling for help. The boy had been trapped into a stone pit. The father freed him and they returned home. People say it was because he hadn't shared his dinner with the owners of the mountain. There are about 20 documented cases since these events were recorded in the area. Remember that the entire Yucatan peninsula is flat with no mountains except in Campeche, and it's there where many more stories have yet to be told. These tales have lived for at least 200 years in the minds of the people, present in their daily lives. The disappearance of children in Campeche remain a mystery. Are they simply victims of a chance, wandering too deep into the jungle? Or is there something older and more powerful at play? it's really the jungle calling them, preparing them for a destiny beyond our understanding? Or perhaps it's the human mind that seeks supernatural explanation for what it cannot comprehend? The mystery lingers, and maybe one day it will reveal its darkest secrets. That's all for today. Subscribe to stay tuned for more stories yet to be told. See you next time.